right, girl. So what's the word? What's going on these days for business wise? What's going on for you? 2024. We're in a new year. It's what do you think? How long you been in business?
16 years now.
Okay, like me. Okay.
2008. Did I do that math correctly?
Yes, I'm 15, 2009. So I'm 15. I'm 15.
So, yeah, it's been a long time.
Well,
It's going to be a very challenging year in the insurance industry. More and more companies are leaving, shutting down, restricting writings, both sides, personal and commercial. So, James, it's going to be a interesting year.
I mean,
So I'm not optimistic about
day, all day,
2024.
all day, all day.
That's the truth of it. We're all
Yeah,
gonna pay more for our insurance no matter what you're buying. You're gonna pay more for it, except certain lines. Workers' comp for business owners with employees.
yeah.
That's very stable market right now.
Oh, is it really? Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm not. In fact, let's just not talk about insurance right now.
Well, no, I'm good because in 2024, it's like we've had some challenging years. Like we've had some really challenging years the last 4 years,
Yes.
and we survived. You and I are still here. I'm trying to think for myself too. God, 'cause my businesses, we had a really challenging last 4 years between strikes and COVID, and both
Yeah.
both of my businesses were hit. It was like first the organizing stuff got hit, but then my media stuff got hit. So it's just really, really weird. So I don't, and then this year is the election year,
Yes.
and it's be very interesting. We have several wars going on. I know it's a lot. I've been just seeing a lot of in California because we are in California. We listen, you and I live, but folks at home don't know that. There's a lot of laws being passed and things being. I'm seeing, the no guns inside stuff. I'm like, I saw a sign here. And I was like, "What's that?" Like, it's so weird to see. Like, but I was wondering about. I heard about certain insurances and things are all kind of moving around. I didn't know it was that.
Mm.
I didn't know there was that much movement happening. I just didn't know there was that much movement happening.
Oh, it's devastating. If you own property in California, I don't care if it's a home or a bit like, an apartment building, not only are your costs going up, but the market for insurance has shrunk so much. There are a lot of folks that are having a hard time getting qualified. So
Wow.
it's a like I said, it's a very challenging time. We do what we do here well, but I'm at a point in my life, James, where I'm so used to being able to take care of business in a certain fashion, and I can't do that now. So what we're trying to do is say, okay, well, there's only so much you can just go along with before you have to stop and take a look around and go, okay, this isn't really working for us,
Yeah.
and pivot. So, the pivot's going to be focusing in insurance lines where we think we can have the most impact, maintain our standards of care, and make a little bit of money. Uh, just a little bit, folks. Like, don't we all just want to get ahead? It feels like in my business, I take 2 steps back and then I go 1 step forward, and then there's another 3 steps back and 1 step forward. So
Right.
I feel like I'm either always catching up or I'm just not quite getting where I need to be. So that's going to be our focus this year is just, pivoting, working towards a goal. I think that's very important in business, working towards a goal. And we'll look back in 11 months and see how we did.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it's just going to be a year of spending time with family and friends and just being grateful for being healthy and working on a few personal care items. I think that's just going to be what my focus is. But I'll check in with you from time to time and know how
Yes.
that's going,
Well, I
you
mean, that's
know.
that's a legitimate, a great start to this next part of the conversation. Kind of just like as we get older, I have a show called 50 Plus, and I talk about issues of when you're over 50. And just to stay and things that you learn. And that's and you just said something that we kind of, as you get older, you live enough life. Um, your reaction to stuff like this is very different than it would have been at 20, 25, 30. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
very different. You're just like, instead of trying to fight against it and trying to, trying to tread water. And I was like, you're like, okay, well, I'll get out the pool. I'll go over here and I'll just go hang over here on the side and have a drink. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that, right? It's
That's
kind of like
exactly
this.
right.
Yeah, we learned that. It's like we learn. I'm like, I have my disco ball drink and I'm ready.
Oh, I love the disco
Next year,
ball.
that's for this for New Year's. So I was like,
That is adorable.
all right. But you know what? But you know what I mean? It's like that's what we do. We kind of, as we get older, the priority changes a little bit, like of how you react to stuff. Like we're talking
Yeah,
about right now, and we're making little jokes about it and stuff. But I mean, yeah, there's some work. I mean, we're business people. There's some worry in there somewhere. But there's also kind of
of
like, well,
course.
I'm gonna go over here then and handle this stuff over here because that's equally as important. And you
Yeah.
know,
I think that I love that you said that because I remember my 20 something self.
mhm.
She's still here in spirit,
Oh, of
folks,
course,
by the
no, of
way.
course, yeah,
Okay.
Fine's in there too. Yes, in there too.
But my 20-year-old self in today's environment would not have done well.
Oh,
It would
okay,
have been,
yes.
this fight the good fight, try and force something to happen, get angry, uh, and go nowhere, honestly, because when you look back and you say, God, when you're in a position where you're really trying to force something to happen, if it does end up happening, it's never the way you envisioned it. And most of the time it's not going to be great.
Yep.
So in business, I'm fortunate enough that I can pivot. Like there's this whole world of insurance out there.
Oh,
So
there
I'm
totally
grateful
is, totally
for
is.
being in my industry. You know what I mean? Like I feel grateful. I feel empowered by wisdom and experience. And the whole pivot thing is because I'm not holding on to anything. I'm not trying to force something to happen. I'm just realizing in this moment, I just need to pivot. And I'm going to do that. And I have no stress over it.
Well, you know what also you're doing too is you're saying, "I'm not just gonna panic and
Right.
or give up." Because I know for me, when the pandemic hit and everything shut down in California, especially it shut, especially in Los Angeles, everything shut down. Um, at my organizing world, it was like we can't go anybody's houses right now.
Right.
It was like, so that's literally what I do for a living. So yeah, my 20-year-old self would have been shit bricks. I would have been, I mean, I was, no, when it happened, I was a little like, "Whew." Um,
Mhm.
but our organizing world is vast and wide too. But then also the other world of mine, the business, that all shut down too. Like, my studio shut down, everything. So I was like, both my businesses industries shut down. This is, and they're both not considered essential. So I was like, so it's kind of weird. But I reacted to like you, a day or two of why God, that was done. Then I was like, okay, well, let's figure this out.
Yeah.
I mean, we know we have to figure it out. We have to just you just have to like you go somehow,
Yes. Yeah,
And I
and
didn't
you
force myself.
do. I mean, I right. And I think that, well, from that experience, again, we were deemed essential, so I had some benefit from that.
Oh, good.
My business wasn't public, so my clients don't come in to see me. It didn't matter that I had a physical space.
Thank
It didn't
God.
matter that I couldn't come out and see people or people couldn't come see me. So again, just in that moment in time, we were like, okay, we're going to lose business because on our commercial side,
Oh yeah.
everyone's sales dropped
Oh,
immediately.
it sure
And
did.
yeah, and premium computation is on the commercial side based on, depending on what it is, sales, payroll, or area. So I knew in real estate, nothing was going to change, right? Because that's based on area. But for all my businesses, sales were down, payroll was
Oh,
down. So we were losing money there, supporting our clients, making sure, hey guys, are you going to reach your sales goals during this period of time? They're saying absolutely not. So we're making adjustments. On the personal side, you know what happened there with the auto insurance, right? Everybody stopped driving.
yeah.
So the mileage went way down. And the insurance commissioner, um, had a mandate that premium refunds had to be made on top of all of that. So it was a challenging time in that sense, but really we were going to be in this environment. It's different because the marketplace is responding in ways that are not necessarily going to be temporary.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be a very challenging year in that sense because this new normal that has set in 2023, I I am my concern is that it will get worse and it's going to have like a life.
Mm,
You know, it's not just going to be a blip on the radar where, oh, we had a really bad 18 months, but look at us now, we're doing great.
yeah.
I don't think for the property sector and insurance, it's going to be that. So I think it's going to be a longer process to get back on track. And so that's why we're looking at our business portfolio and going, okay, well, let's pivot here and here and here. But again, I'm grateful to be in that position.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know a lot of businesses can't just pivot. Um, and I understand that there are going to be challenges this year. I'm saying next year.
Yeah, I know it's this. I mean,
Welcome to 2024, James.
2024, 2025, something different. We're 2024. We're 2024. We're 2024. Yeah. No, I know. It's being an entrepreneur, being someone who has their own business. It's not easy. But you sign up for this kind of stuff, kind of. That's what's kind of part of it. And you have to figure
Sure.
it out. And luckily, insurance has been around forever, and it'll be around forever. It's one of the few industries that it's not gonna go anywhere. But like you said, you just have to kind of watch the changes and see how where you fit in, where you fit in.
Yeah.
For me, I think media is not going to go away either. I mean, media and entertainment is going to be there forever. And but yeah,
Oh,
organized
yeah.
is interesting. That's something we're still a relatively young industry. So we're like maybe 40 years old. Um, I'm trying to keep it alive myself and keep it going, but we'll see how that goes. It's a very cliquish industry, and some folks think they're doing it. So I'm trying my best to bring it broader to the world so that it will evolve and continue to populate. And that's why I'm always saying, well, you want me on your show, you want me to come to your state? I'm going to San Diego next month to speak, and I'm like, whatever you need me to do, I will come as an organizer and tell you um how great this industry is and how helpful it can be. It was funny because I have a client who works for Chevron, and she's relocating, and they're actually thinking about getting organizers as part of that program. I thought that's a you like no, I'm like that's smart because they can help you purge and pack, and like that's kind of the part of the whole thing. I'm trying to get myself in there, in there, but that's something that we have to figure that out kind of and go, okay, where can we be useful? And like I said, you'll be doing the same thing. You'll be doing the same thing. Where can we be useful?
Right.
Where can we add value to somebody who will want our service? And that's we're always doing that. We're always doing it anyway. We're always doing that anyway on a regular basis. But now we have to like cast the net a little wider and
A little
certain
wider,
a little wider.
a little deeper, a little wider,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's,
whatever.
but we're in our
Just
50s. We're like
to make
shit.
it work.
We're in our 50s. Life will go on one way or the other. I mean, I don't stress out about my businesses. Actually, we always like you're not like no, I'm not stressed out about the businesses in general. I make it stressed like I have a lot of work to do, which is a blessing on earth.
Right.
I guess I have little stresses, but like I don't like just now I had to release something in time. So that's fine. But in terms of my business, I'm just like, well, they're gonna go the way they're gonna go. I mean,
That's
right?
right.
I mean, you going
I have absolutely no control over what's happening. And I try and remind family and friends that too when they're feeling stress about something that's, external. Like you can't control what's happening around you. You can move away from it. You can choose to be in it. Your reaction to what's happening is the only thing that you can really control. So why add stress and fear and everything else that's really negative. And by the way, will make you like lose your hair
Oh yeah, oh
and
yeah.
maybe gain weight or lose weight in an unhealthy fashion. And so there's like, you know, as we age, we become more evolved in not only understanding we can't affect this change, but your reaction to change can actually physically like strip you of everything good. You know, stress is a killer, folks. It is absolute killer. So in my 20s, we weren't talking about stress and, you know, we were just out there trying to make something happen at that point in our lives. Well, you know, our age, 50 something, we can react differently to things. And so I think that's where I'm trying to focus because a lot of people around me are very uncertain and panicky. Um, a lot of folks will be selling their businesses perhaps this year because they just don't want to hang in anymore, which is also a very stressful period. I'm just saying, look, can't control this, do the best that you can, you know, and work hard. Nothing happens magically, unfortunately, because
Oh,
I would love a pony.
me too. I want to.
So
Oh,
I think that we're, you know, and then having friends and being able to talk. You know, this is our show.
right.
You and I come
Yes.
on a weekly basis and we get to talk about these things that are, you know, good, bad, or indifferent in our lives, have some fun. But I think the whole thing is laughing and talking will will lighten your load. Having somebody say, "Yeah, I get it. I know what you're going through." You know, or share a laugh over something that you both find funny. That's the most, I think, important is your connection with people, your conversations, laughter. Um, and you know, when unfortunately life throws your curveball, to have a shoulder, you know, to cry on too is really important. So in the spirit of our show in 2024, let's double down on coffee and conversation.
Yeah, no, seriously. No, I think that that's beautiful. I totally agree with you, Melissa. I think it's one of those things where, like I said, I in the last year talking about my, you know, our friend Flobo taking me shopping. It was like to go with somebody who's had weight issues himself, knows what it feels like to try on clothes they don't fit, or
Yes.
try on something and it fits. I had both experiences on Friday. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
okay. Um, and then, but it was like there was a camaraderie. That's what I was looking for that you have, and that's what you say about this too. It's like you have friends in insurance. It's a community. I mean, it's like you can. I mean, I have friends in the business, but we talk about it. We talk about our fears or upsetting or what, you know, what's kind of bringing us down this weekend. You find some laughter in it, hopefully, and a few jokes here and there, and or at least a
Well, if
smile.
you're talking to James Lott Jr., you're gonna laugh,
Oh, you gonna
no
laugh. Oh,
doubt.
me, I'm crazy. I'm a crazy person. So yeah, I'll make you laugh at something over something. But you know what I mean? It's like that is. I mean, I think that's something. We don't live in a vacuum. We don't. And no man is an island. All those phrases. It's just so true. You have to let go of your pride. That's the one thing. It's like there's no pride in this. It's like we're all in this together. We're all swimming upstream to, you know, just to make it. So other folks will understand. Of course, choose your folks carefully, obviously. And I'm hoping, folks, you have one or two people, at the very least, one or two people that you can go to and be yourself. Like I can be myself with you, and be ourselves. I've cried on the
Mhm.
show, I've laughed on the show, I've been on the show. Just be yourself, and that what you will, and you get the phone, go, I feel a little better. Like, or you had lunch, I feel better. I had lunch. It felt you have to do that sometimes. I totally agree with that completely.
Yeah.
That's kind of the basis of this show is like you come together and you talk about life, and sometimes they give you another perspective, or they validate what you're saying, or they're just laughing, or
Yeah.
you're crying. One or two.
There's a great commercial that's running right now. I don't even know what's behind the commercial, but they interview a handful of people who English, I think, is a second language. And the question is like, what's the hardest word to say? And they all start talking about like the words that they can't pronounce. And then it pivots and goes, oh, you mean like what's the hardest emotional word to say?
Oh,
And then they all start saying these one words. And I think one of the most difficult words to say is help,
yes.
you know, and that wasn't in their monologue, which is fine. But that's what came to me was I think a lot of us have a hard time asking for help. And so when you're talking about no pride, there's no shame,
Right.
all of us need help. Don't prolong it. Don't prolong your agony. Like there's no reason to suffer.
Right.
Just reach out and ask for help. It's one of the hardest things to do. Because some of the examples were like, sorry, I was wrong, love. And so they were touching on it, but I thought it was a great commercial. And I thought, gosh, if I was asked that, my word would be help. But I've started asking for help
Same here. Same here. Yeah.
and it lightens the load a little bit.
I had to last year, because of what I was going through. I had to reach out. I mean, I was almost like I had to. So I realized you get older too, you realize this too. You can't do everything. You can try,
No,
you can try, but you can't. And but no, help is, I mean, I know some folks I have actually have helped them break down their pride. And I'm like, I'm a safe space. It's totally okay. I won't tell your business, all that different stuff. And you're like, it's okay. And for men especially, we have a hard time very much, especially saying we need any kind of help. And we have to normalize that. And I know some women too, because women are known for you take care of everything. You guys are the salt of the
yeah,
earth. You multitask, you handle everything, and it's like, or there's jealousy issues. You know, they seem like they're doing really well. I don't want to show them I'm not doing that. Like, you don't want there's all that stuff too that goes on, and
yeah,
then you start talking, you realize they're not doing as well as you think they are because they're fronting the same way. Like it's like it just you never know what you can find. I use my old phrase
yeah,
fronting. That's very 90s. They're fronting for everybody. But that's kind of things like you don't know what's going on in someone's backyard or in their house. You have no idea. Everybody presents they present, but you have no idea what's going on inside. So you may take a chance and you're like, oh my God, we both are going through something similar. Then you
yeah,
don't feel so alone in it. It doesn't seem so heavy. Um,
yes,
but I think that's something that I feel like as you get older, I was saying, the more I get old, the more I get older. As I get older, the less I know. I don't know everything. I know some stuff, but I don't know everything. And someone could say something and go, "Oh my God, that's the answer." Like
yeah,
I didn't think of that. Oh my God, I never thought of that. Like you just never know when you talk to somebody else. And I have a lot of younger people around me, so I'm watching them. I learn stuff from them all the time, but I'm watching them. They're where we were, so they're
sure,
trying to force stuff. They're pushing through. And I'm telling and I've grown kids, and I go, well, like this month, my younger daughter turns 35, Miss Monica, and I'm just like, I'm watching them do their thing, and I have to sit back and just listen. I listen, and I just go, okay. I offer a few hints of suggestion if asked, but I always I tell my other people our age they have to go through it. They have to push through it. They have to walk through it. Some will take our advice, and some won't. They have to walk through it. Like we did. We had to walk through it. You know, that's just how the circle of life is. I mean, I would have listened to everybody when I was their age. A
no,
few, not everybody. Well, everybody. It was a few
no,
people. No, no, nah.
no. I'm just charging forward.
Exactly, exactly. But I mean, but then also for us, it was a little more. We had it was a little more bountiful. 'Cause so folks at home, are if you were long time listeners and viewers, we know each other over 20 years. So I've known you. We met in our 30s. So
Yeah,
and it was we were having 3 hour lunches at my jobs, paid. I mean, it was a little different back then. There was money just being hand over fist was happening back then. It was.
yes,
Of
it
course, we
was.
had
It
nice
was.
long lunches, expense reports and shit. All that stuff. Oh, I loved all that stuff. Woo.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely a different. It's
Yeah,
definitely a
yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
world.
She's all chucked
Um,
up. Yeah, it's different now.
right, because and I think also in those days, the fringe benefits, so to speak, like you took that into account of valuing your job, right? Um, and I think it's interesting today with so many people working remotely, there's none of that. There's no lunches,
No.
there's no long lunches, there's no grab a donut in the kitchen, like, oh, these people are coming and bringing lunch for us.
Right,
There's
right.
none of that. There's none of that daily like benefits, if you will, happening, you
Oh,
know? Um, and so we the whole idea now about, I think, a healthy work environment is totally gonna change. Because I might not have gotten like, back in the day, I might not have gotten the raise that I was really expecting, but then I could go, "Well, yeah, but they do this, for me, and so it kinda will balance out." Working from home, you don't get any fringe benefits.
not really. Well, I had good health insurance.
So
I didn't
I'd be curious to know how the larger employers are dealing with that, trying to make their people feel valued and actually providing those fringe benefits. Like when you could literally go somewhere and have breakfast every day, that's a big deal. Like what bagels, what because
I,
they used to provide spreads all the
oh
time,
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. The
you
spreads.
know?
They did, but they did. They
They
did.
did though.
I
Like
know,
when
I
you
know
went
they
into the
did.
beauty salon, right? There was this spread of stuff. Now it's like a tray of bagels and maybe some like, bagged popcorn.
No, at the gym,
And so
we used to on
and you make your
Fridays.
own coffee.
Oh yeah, sorry. I mean, same thing.
Yeah,
At the gym,
exactly.
they have bagels on Fridays. I mean, human, all kinds of cream cheeses and everything. They don't do that shit anymore.
Yes.
You're right. Make your own coffee. I know, really. But I remember going back in the day and getting the coffee in the carafes or whatever, getting the to go ones, bringing it for the. I mean, that stuff's gone. That stuff's done.
It's just
Nobody
this, so there's a lot that was going on when we were coming up in our careers where we could value like, oh, okay, I'll take that into consideration when I'm valuing my employer, my workspace.
right. Yeah.
Now it's like,
You're
I don't
counting
know.
every penny. You're counting every penny in benefit. Because
You
I
are.
remember just when Nick and I were traveling all the time for work at Insurance Skill Center, when we had unlimited whatever we could have. We were there. We had our hotel room. Everything was just like paid for. Turn an expense report. Everybody was being reimbursed. We did a lot of work. We did work hard. I'm not telling nobody.
Oh yeah.
We had some fun too, but we did work hard to get our jobs done. But we just it was the culture was just so it was so different. And you're right, it was much more we're meeting up tonight for drinks, which could also mean and
Yes.
there was business talk. I mean, trust me, the insurance people love to talk about insurance. So they were talking about it, but it was like, but it was over drinks and shit. Like it was. I mean, we were like,
Yeah.
whatever, having a good old time. But I just think that that's all. That's just that's oh, they encourage networking. Like after work, you guys should go. Let's meet up at this local bar after. We should do that in Central all the time and meet up and yeah, you would talk business and you have a good time at the same time. And
Yeah.
the money part was just not the problem. Like you said, I wasn't maybe getting paid as much, but that was the like, right. That was the benefit. Like, what other job am I gonna have to be able to do this? Kind of thing.
Right. And you really enjoyed working with, your team.
Yeah.
Here it's a team of one. And luckily I am not an employer of any size, so I don't have to deal with these things, but it's, the value proposition is completely different. And and I just don't get it. Like if I were a part of a team working for a corporation, I'd want to be with that team physically.
Okay.
And I think because that, those are the bonds that keep people together. Like if you enjoy working with your team, you're collaborating, that to me is a very important thing. So sure, you and I are talking on Zoom and we can connect on Zoom and stay in contact, but it's not like if you and I were sitting down having coffee together physically, the vibe would be completely different.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think that for employers, the hardest thing that they're going to have to do is decide, does everyone come back?
What are
Or
they
do
doing
we like this?
they're doing the hybrid these days. Some are doing that.
They are doing the hybrid. My sister works for a very, very large corporation. She's on a hybrid. I think 3 days in office, 2 days work at home. But they're really trying to discourage the work at home aspect of it. They're still allowing it, but they really want people back in office. And so hopefully, I don't know. Because I think that is if you stay set up at home, I don't I would go in. I would choose to go into an office environment rather than work at home.
But then you have right now this new strain of COVID going around in California.
Yeah,
But I have 5 people I know who have it right now. They have it.
yeah. Yeah,
So
no,
that's
we've known
happening again
people.
too. So that's
Yeah,
happening now. It's like,
yeah. But I think that the flu season, and I'm not trying to minimize COVID for our listeners out there at all. We all went through it together.
that's
Um, but I think that flu season was always a season that I was very aware of.
okay.
And I would curtail my, going out, if you would, because I didn't want to get sick. I didn't want to miss like the Christmas party.
Right.
I didn't want to miss, like, yeah, my mind was always about being a little bit more circumspect where I went. Now with masks, I've gone out shopping, restaurants, there are a lot more people masked up
And
and
I've seen it too. I've
employees.
seen it too. I've seen it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Here in California, in
Yeah.
LA, at least, they're
Yeah.
masked up right now.
Yeah. True here too. Oh, true here too. That's funny. Well, I am, excuse me. We are Coffee and Conversation, and I am James.
And I am Melissa.
We're gonna figure this out, kids. 2024, we're with you guys. 2024, we're gonna work this out. You're gonna see what's happening. Now, maybe 2 episodes down, we're both crying and say our lives are over. Who knows? Or we're cheering because something good happened. Who knows? But stay tuned with us and follow our journeys as we talk as we come to you on Mondays, talking about coffee and conversation and spilling tea, all that stuff. Any oh my god. I'm so out of practice, you guys. This is all real stuff, you guys. We're on every audio streaming service platform. Say that 5 times fast. Look for Coffee and Conversation with James Melissa. That's very important. There's another coffee and some. No, it's James Melissa. Nobody else. It's us. And I'm on YouTube at JLJ Media. We love you guys. See you next time.